Okay, colleagues, this is 2 o'clock, so we can open the cabinet meeting. The apologies list is going around. And we go to item 1, which is the minutes on page 1 to 4. Agree, Sander?
Agree.
Move on now to the key decisions, which is item 3, and the mid-term year budget position. James?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah.
Page 5, 22.
Okay. This report updates the Cabinet on the 14-15 consolidated mid-year monitoring position, and it sets out how previously identified key financial pressures are being managed. The detailed position on each portfolio has already been presented to portfolio holders during October. Taking you to section 4 of the report, this sets out the position on portfolio cash limits. Earlier in the year, members were advised of significant budget pressures affecting adult social care and children's social care budgets. Officers have been working on specific action plans in those areas to improve the controls, review and forecasting of social care packages and costs. And we've also established a council-wide challenge of non-essential spend to help minimise the deficit position at the outturn stage. Since then, the forecasted position has improved by 1.1 million. Section 5 of the report goes into more detail on the budget pressures and associated actions in children's social care, which are mainly due to the increasing numbers of children in independent sector placements and additional agency and social worker costs as the restructure and recruitment drive takes effect. A one-off allocation of just over £1.4 million from the Workforce Remodelling Reserve is proposed to fund these additional staffing costs in 14-15. Section 6 sets out the pressures and associated actions in adult social care which stem from increased demand for services and the reassessment of previously agreed savings. Section 7 of the report sets out in-year savings on potential borrowing costs and Treasury Management of almost £1 million. This section also highlights the £810,000 per year permanent saving from the senior management restructure that is currently underway. The part-year effect in 14-15 of this is likely to be about £170,000, but that will be confirmed as part of the Q3 monitoring, which will be brought to Cabinet in February. As part of the funding transfer from NHS England for social care in 14-15, Section 8 of the report asks Cabinet to agree the proposed detailed allocation of the money. This is a requirement of the funding transfer and it will go forward to the Health and Wellbeing Board for final approval. So the overall forecast year-end deficit Q2 therefore totals £3.207 million. This is after the allocation of significant one-off resources to offset some of the financial pressures in both adults and children's social care. This has been the approach taken in previous years, but it's not really sustainable moving forward as one-off resources and contingencies are significantly reduced. There is therefore a knock-on impact to these budget pressures into future years, which when taken alongside the government funding cuts means that the estimated budget gap over the next 2 years is probably up to about £34 million. Members will be looking at this aspect in more detail at the policy study sessions on Thursday and Friday of this week. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair, on the recommendations as set out in section 2 of the report on pages 5 and 6.
Thank you, James. Okay, colleagues, you have given the cyclist a report and digested. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chair. While the year-end deficit forecast is a concern, it is reassuring that the position is being closely monitored and controlled and that it is improving. This is a good example of the whole Cabinet working together. There are specific actions plans in adults and children's social care aimed at improving the situation, while all portfolio areas are cutting back on non-essential spending so that the year-end deficit is as low as possible. In the past, as James has said, we've had some scope to manage in-year pressures using one-off resources and other in-year savings, but it is getting harder and harder to do that as we've reduced contingencies year on year. We will feed this information into the future year budget gaps we are considering at our policy studies session tomorrow, Chair.
Thank you. Any further comments? And it is a situation we find ourselves in, a massive cut we got of the government, so underline what Norm saying, this could be closely monitored, this we just have every hopes clearing ourselves. Is that agreed? Agreed. Move on to the non-key decisions, which is page 23 to 26, and the amendment to its Treasury Management strategy. James?
Okay, thank you, Chair. This report proposes a technical adjustment to the Council's Treasury Management strategy to make sure we can invest in a wide range of financial institutions. The Government is implementing a European directive in January 2015 which effectively removes the current guarantee that the UK Government will bail out banks that get into financial difficulties. This guarantee meant that UK banks were uplifted to an A credit rating, and on that basis we'd set the minimum credit rating in our Treasury Management strategy at A-. The loss of the bailout guarantee is likely to mean that UK banks will be downgraded to BBB ratings. Now, while dropping the credit rating limits would increase the risk, we'll manage this through making sure that investments in lower rated institutions have a maximum investment period of 100 days and they do not exceed 5% of the Council's total investments, which at the moment is about 3.8 million. So the recommendations on set out section 2, which asks to reduce the Council's credit rating to B+. So their recommendations set out in section 2 of the report on page 23. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions, comments, Treasurer? If not, do you agree with the report? Oh, sorry, no.
Well, I'm happy to support the recommendations, Chair. It is really just a technical adjustment, this, to allow us to continue to spread our money across a number of financial institutions. And as James has said, any increased risk will be managed by limiting the amount of investments in any one place, Chair, just to make that clear.
Thank you for that clarification, no? That has been agreed then. Move on to item 5, which is the corporate plan monitoring report. Sue?
Thank you, Chair. This report provides Cabinet with a mid-year update against the 10 strategic outcomes that are contained within the Council's corporate plan. This is separate to the service performance, which is reported as part of the portfolio performance dashboards. The report takes an in-depth look at 3 challenges which were highlighted in the 2013-14 corporate plan monitoring report, and these are: children get the best possible start in life, residents are empowered to realise their economic potential, and everybody has the opportunity to have the best health and well-being throughout their life. These are thought to be the most significant challenges which must be overcome if the vision of the borough of choice is to be realised, and progress against each of the 3 areas is included at Appendix A on page 37 of the report. A summary of progress against the remaining 7 outcomes is also included at Appendix B on page 51, and for all of the corporate plan indicators in Appendix C. The report also recommends that an additional priority to improve social care is considered in the next monitoring report, as well as these 3 challenges. Knowsley's cooperative principles are an integral part of the corporate plan, and section 5 of this report provides an update in this respect. Section 6 of the report covers the Council's 6 pledges, with a focus on the 2 pledges which remain a challenge: educational attainment and residence into jobs. The report's recommendations are set out in paragraph 2.1 on pages 27 and 28.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, colleagues, the recommendations there for the monitoring report, but it does outline our cooperative principles and our 6 pledges of those. Any comments or questions?
Thanks, Chair. Just echoing what the comments you made, but welcome the report, and there's some very positive points in this, and just take a few out. On page 29, 5.1, which is the heart of this Cabinet and at the Labour-run Council, is the cooperative principles. And it's vitally important that we have community leadership, partnership and cooperation, retaining jobs and investment locally and building social value. And I know that's a main driver for us within this Cabinet. Also, it's very good to see on page 31 the GCSE attainments and the right direction that we're now going with our senior schools. St Edmunds Arrowsmith, 60.1% of pupils achieving 5 to AC, which is a fantastic achievement. And also great to see record achievements now at the Lord Derby Academy this year. So again, we're going in the right direction, Chair. And just finally for me on page 32, again, at the heart of this Cabinet and this Labour-run Council is our commitment to support people into work, and over 3,400 Knowsley residents have now been supported into employment by this Council, which is a fantastic achievement. A long way to go, Chair, but it's, as I say, it's our main drive as a Labour Council and this Cabinet to make better for everybody that's living in Knowsley.
Thank you. Will you support them comments? Any further comments? Questions? No. Can you agree the report? Agree. Thank you. Item 6, integration of social care provider with leisure and cultural service. Andrew?
Thank you, Chair. This report outlines the opportunities to integrate further adult social care provider services with the Council's leisure and cultural service. Members will recall that back in 2010 a decision was taken to integrate adult disability day services within the Council's leisure and cultural service, and the benefits of the integration for service users have included a range of improvements, including improved choice and control, improved opportunities for a healthy and active lifestyle, and also reduced unit costs over that period between 2010 and this financial year. Over £500,000 of efficiencies have been identified. In light of this success, there are also opportunities to transfer the management of the 2 small residential homes providing short breaks, and also the Knowsley network of supported tenancies and the older people's day service. The potential benefits are highlighted at paragraph 3.6, Chair, and they include improved workforce development, improved social inclusion, and also a wider range and access to leisure and cultural activities. And the benefits to the Council, Chair, include increased productivity and the efficiencies that integration will deliver, and also the opportunity to scope new models of service delivery, particularly as over the next 12 months the leisure and cultural service will be the subject of a scoping review looking at new models, and it may be that adult social care provider services can also be included within this piece of work. In terms of management and governance, Chair, 3.7 proposes that the whole life commissioning team would continue to be the lead commissioner for the provider services. And finally, in terms of finance, the existing budgets would be ring-fenced within the health and social care portfolio, but of course further budget savings and efficiencies will be required in the future. Thank you, Chair.
I move this report. Eddie?
Can I just say, I do believe this report is, and the integration is going to be really good for both services and people who use them services, more importantly. And I think the fact that we're going to have improved workforce development, such like improved social inclusion, all things that are really good for our residents, and I think this is going to be a great scheme.
Any further comments? Can I endorse what Councillor Conn said as regards to, I don't know when I first saw it, some eyebrows raised as regards the integration, but when you look at 3.6 and say through to 3.7 as regards the benefits and the protection of the management, I think it's a good report. So I'm moving this report. Agreed? Agreed. Colleagues, nothing else on the agenda, so meeting closed, and thank you for your attendance.